just making a little update on the Indian here. So the seat was completely off kilter like this and twisted on the frame and all jacked up. So had these big booger welds underneath here, and so we just cut it off. Got the old angle grinder out, sliced that off, sliced off the front where it had a bunch of big booger welds as well. You can see all I had to go through on that one side. And then on the other side, if you look, you can see didn't go through much at all, just because there wasn't nothing really holding it. Same for this bar on the back here. Had a bunch of good booger welds on this side. I say good. And then on this side, there's some little boogers there, but nothing was actually attached to the seat. And you can see that down here. See on this side here, on the right hand side, none of those welds were attached to the really attached to the seat, except for that one up top. And on this side, it did have some booger welds that actually did attach. So that's off there. Now we can, and it drew first blood, but now we can straighten that, you know, grind all them down, straighten it out, get it right on there where it's supposed to be and straight. Straighten it up. That's what we're gonna do. God, them welds, something crazy on there. Huge. All right. Clean that up with a flat disc. Someone's just come off. Straighten up. All right. So we're missing a lot of metal there on one side. We'll see how that ends up working out when we go to put it on. We may have to. Yeah, they bent it all in so they could get it to touch the frame. That's what they did. Whoever did it. And that's gonna have to go back in. All right, so the seat was totally crooked. If you look down it this way, this whole edge was popped up like this. I mean, it was terrible. So I got it, put it in the vise, hammered away on one side, and got it to straighten out pretty good. So it's not too crooked anymore. Looking a lot straighter than it was. I just got to clean up some of this stuff here. Clean up a lot of stuff up here. Probably going to end up having to put in another little piece of metal here to make that wide, bigger, you know, to come in further, because it's supposed to be way in here, and it's just missing a big old chunk there that they, I don't know what they did when the previous owner had it, but we're getting there. got that pretty good cleaned up. It was real rough before. I probably need to do a little more. This side's pretty decent. This side over here probably needs just a hair more right in this area. You know, and then I must have cut through a little bit right there. And then the bar, it's definitely cleaned up good. Yeah, all cleaned up pretty good. We still got to do a little bit on the seat here. It's got a little messiness. I did get the seat straightened out. It was super bent up. You can see it's just a hair tweaked. You see this side is a little lower than that other side, but not by much. I think that's more of the fold there than anything. But we'll get this back on here. It needs it needs a little more metal on one side here. See how this side comes in further, and this side doesn't actually touch. Once you get it against the bar here on the one side, this side doesn't really touch, so it's got a pretty good gap. We'll probably fill that in with a little bit of little plate steel. Add a little bit onto here to bring it out. So I'm attempting to fill in these big gaps on the sides of the front of the seat here. You know, when you get it on here up front, it should be contacting the bar. It wasn't on either side. It had a huge gap. So cut out a little strip of metal. I already did one side here. See, the other side needs to be done. But I did one side and just welded it on there, a little strip, and ground it down. And not too bad. Could be better. It already was worse, so. But now, when I put it on there and get it straight, you can see it's actually touching on that. See that one side right there will touch. And the seat is pretty straight. So now, there was a gap on both sides. There was one over here and over there. Now we got something actually touching there. So I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm just going to cut out another little, just like another little strip of steel. It's going to be too small. This stuff, I was looking at this, but it's way too thin. But I've got some other stuff. I got some more of this right here. It's nice and thick. So I'll have to cut out another little tiny strip and weld that in there. So we got the little piece of metal made, got it cut out, and kind of put it in the bench vise and hammered it over and bent it a little bit to shape it to the right shape of the seat. And now I can just pop that in there. It kind of holds itself in pretty tight against the frame. So I'm going to pop that in there. Yeah, well, hard to do one-handed, but we'll get it in there. I'll pop that in there and get it welded up to the seat. Then we can take the seat off and grind it all down and make it look pretty, kind of like we did over here on the other side. I say pretty, but you know what I mean. We'll get it on there, and at least it'll be up against the frame instead of having a big giant gap there. And then eventually we'll put a little bead across the frame there as well. And then back here, they had it welded to this bar that comes up, this bar right here. They had the seat welded with these giant booger welds. One side was welded and the other side just had big booger welds running down the side of the seat with nothing actually attached to the, none of it was actually attached to the bar. But it has these holes on either side, and I believe that's probably for some type of U-bolt that you could run through there to hold the seat down. But since we're welding it on the front side, we may weld it on the back. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about that a little longer. Okay, that's probably enough to hold it on there for now, so I can take the seat off and run a little quick bead down there. All right, good enough now. Alright, well, got that bit welded in there and ground down a little bit. Not too bad. It doesn't completely match with the other side. The other side's a little shallow. This side sticks out a little further. But I can always grind down this a little bit, this edge, and then hammer it back in and tuck it in a little to match to the other side. At least now I've got some extra metal to actually work with, so everything's going to match up and touch the frame and not have a big giant open air gap right there between it. So now I got at least I got something to work with now instead of nothing. I may go underneath the seat and tack in and fix this little crack here. You know, they just punch this out, so it's got a little hairline crack there, and you can see the crack pretty good right there. I don't know that that'll really. I don't know if that'll cause an issue over time. It may. It probably will, honestly, because that crack's going to get rest down in there. And we may try to do something about those, but for now, we got some of the crazy work done. Little fabric cobble. Not too bad. I got a little pinhole right there. Let's see. Probably fix that easy.